We are reminded by current events, Ian. Freedom is something we often take for granted. But imagine waking up one day to find that every economic choice, from your job to what you can buy, was controlled by central planners. That's precisely the future that one of history's most influential economists warned us about.
Pappy, that's quite a stark way to think about it. What made you start exploring this particular warning about freedom?
I've been diving deep into Friedrich Hayek's The Road to Serfdom, written in 1944. And what's fascinating is how he witnessed totalitarian control spreading across Europe firsthand. He wasn't just theorizing, he was documenting a pattern he saw unfolding in real time.
Hmm. And this was during World War II, right? The timing seems particularly significant.
Exactly. Ian, and here's what's really interesting. Hayek noticed that in every case where freedom was lost, it started with economic controls. You know how a GPS redirects your route? Well, he saw economic planning as essentially redirecting millions of individual life paths.
That's quite a vivid comparison. Could you break down how exactly economic control leads to political power?
Well, think about it this way. If the government controls what jobs exist and what gets produced, they're essentially mapping out your entire life. Studies have shown that countries with higher economic freedom scores consistently rank higher in political and civil liberties, too.
So, what you're saying is that economic and political freedoms are fundamentally interconnected.
Exactly. And here's where it gets fascinating. Hayek talks about this concept called spontaneous order. Imagine millions of people making decisions based on their local knowledge, like a massive decentralized computer network. No central planner could process that much information.
Though some might argue that in today's digital age with big data and AI, we could actually plan things more efficiently than ever before.
Uh, but that's where Hayek's insight becomes even more relevant. Even with all our technology, we still can't predict or control human creativity and innovation. Look at how often 5 year economic plans fail, even with sophisticated modeling.
What about market failures, though? Don't we sometimes need intervention to address major societal problems?
This is where Hayek's warning about incrementalism becomes crucial. You know how social media platforms gradually expanded their data collection? It's similar. Each small step seems reasonable, but suddenly you realize you've given up more control than you intended.
That's a fascinating parallel to modern issues. How do you think his ideas apply to current debates about tech regulation and economic policy?
Well, consider this: when the EU implemented GDPR, they found that attempting to control one aspect of the digital economy had ripple effects throughout the entire system. That's precisely what Hayek was talking about, the interconnectedness of freedom.
And I imagine this applies to other sectors too.
Absolutely correct. Look at healthcare, education, or housing. Every time we centralize control, we see unintended consequences. Studies show that more regulated housing markets consistently have higher prices and less availability.
What would you say is the most critical takeaway for listeners thinking about these issues today?
It's really about understanding that significant changes often come through small steps. Recent research indicates that countries that maintained economic freedom during the 2008 financial crisis recovered more quickly than those that implemented stringent controls.
And I suppose that's why being aware of these patterns is so crucial.
Precisely. It's like that quote from Milton Friedman: nothing is so permanent as a temporary government program. The key is recognizing how seemingly small policy decisions can fundamentally reshape our freedom landscape over time.
Looking toward the future, what should people be watching for?
We'll keep an eye on how new regulations and policies affect your daily choices. When you see control expanding in one area, ask yourself, what's the long-term impact on both economic and personal freedom? That's the kind of vigilance Hayek was advocating for.
So, in essence, PAPPY, it's about maintaining that delicate balance between addressing societal needs and preserving individual liberty.
That's right, Ian, and understanding that the road to serfdom isn't always obvious. It's often paved with good intentions, which is precisely why we need to stay alert to where each step might lead us.